Good morning, everyone. Praise be Jesus Christ. Yes. Father Michael has this habit, well, more a practice, that whenever we deacons are going to preach, he always says, is there something I should be thinking about or something I should be adding to it? So I always tell him what it is that I'm preaching on. So when we were in the back talking about that, I said, well, I'm going to preach on servants. I said, but I don't have any idea what's coming out today. I told him all week long, my homily's been going back and forth between one thing and another, one subject. And I told my wife this beforehand, sitting back there, and I told Father, I can't wait to hear what the homily's about today. We've just finished Christmas season, and as Father said, we're now entering into that short 31-day period of ordinary time leading up to the beginning of Lent. Christmas time, a time of running around, hustle, bustle, cooking, baking, shopping, wrapping, giving gifts, visiting, having visitors. A time that's so full of motion that we don't have time to really sit and relax. We're just full of things to do. And what do we hear in our first reading today in ordinary time, the beginning of ordinary time now after Christmas? But we hear a passage from Isaiah about being a servant, about called to being a servant to God. And when I think about that, and I'll talk a little bit more about it in a moment, but when I think about being a servant, I think about two things: being a servant and being a slave. The first being a positive and a good thing, the second, not so much so. How many times in our lives do we find ourselves being slaves to things? Being slave to our homes, being slaves to our cars, being slaves to our positions, and probably the most thing that we are a slave to is this. Are we not? We are. We are slaves to this thing that we carry with us everywhere we go. I have to share with you this. This past week, I forgot my phone at home when I left for the day. First time I've done that in years. What a glorious day I had. No phone ringing, nobody texting, nobody calling. No, nothing for about 7 hours. It was like heaven on earth. But we have become such slaves to our phones. We need them for everything. We can't be without them. And there's some good things to that, but there are so many that are not good. We distance ourselves from others when the only way we communicate is through that device. We text, we don't talk. We don't see each other face to face. Everything's done through that phone. We get all of our information from that phone, whether it's accurate or not, whether it's good or bad. Everything we get from that phone. And that phone takes us away from one another. It isolates us even when we don't recognize it. But it does. It isolates us even though we think, well, we're communicating with people, but we're not talking with people. We're not looking in someone's eyes when they talk to us. We're not seeing what they're saying to us because it's coming through that phone. That's the negative side to being slaves or to being servants. The good side is, as we heard in that first reading from Isaiah, and that reading can be confusing. In the beginning, you're not sure who Isaiah is talking about. Is he talking about himself? Is he talking about Jacob? Is he talking about Israel? But as we get to the end of that reading, we hear who he's talking about. He's talking about Jesus Christ. How God sent us his only Son to be a servant to him, to bring salvation to all the world. And we know that that was the purpose that Jesus came, to serve and to save, and to teach us to do the same. Now, it wasn't just Jesus that God called to be a servant to him and to others. Every day, he calls all of us in one way or another to be servants, not just to him, but to one another. That's what our lives should be all about. Not about our homes, not about our cars, certainly not about our phones. Our lives should be, should be spent serving one another in one way or another. We all don't do that in the same way. We're not all called in the same way. Each of us are called based on what God wants from us. And it's different. It's different from everybody. But he does call us. And many times we're not even aware. And why aren't we aware? Because we're not listening. We're not asking for God to come to us. We're not asking him, Lord, tell me what it is you want from me, and I'll do it. We're just expecting him, I guess, to fall down from heaven and show up one day and say, hey, it's me, the Lord. Here's what I need. I'm knocking at your door. This is what I want from you. He comes to us in many subtle ways. And it's up to us to be open to that. It's up to us to be seeking that out. Not waiting for it to come to us, but seeking it to come to us. To be open to whatever God wants for us. And we know that the main thing he wants from us is to love him, to serve him, and to love and serve one another. So my sisters and brothers, you have 31 days before we start Lent. And Lent is a time when we're asked to do several things. Pray more, give alms, and do things for others. I would suggest this is a good preparation time for Lent, for us to do what we heard in the responsorial psalm. What was our response to the responsorial psalm? Who was awake and singing that? What did we sing? I come to do your will. Here I am, Lord. I come to do your will. That's not a song that we should just sing. That's how we should live our lives every day. Here I am, Lord. I am yours. I serve you. And I want to serve my sisters and brothers in whatever way you call me and you ask me to serve. And when we do that, it's a wonderful thing to do. But when he comes to us and we're hearing and we're listening and he tells us what it is, guess what we can't say to him? No, Lord, not that. I don't think I can do that. It's a little bit above my comfort level. When we ask him to come to us, when we tell him, here I am, I come to do your will, and he makes known to us what that will is, there's only one answer that we can give, and that answer is, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Whatever it is, I will do it for you. And I will do it for my sisters and brothers. So let us look upon these 30 days as days to prepare how we can be more of service to the people that Jesus taught us we need to be serving. And we know who that is. We hear it often. Jesus cares the most about the poor, the hungry, the homeless, the forgotten, the imprisoned, the stranger, the immigrant. Jesus calls us to serve them, not look for them to serve us in any way, shape, or form, but for us to serve them. So let's spend the next 31 days just saying to God, God, how can I serve you and serve my sisters and brothers better? And when we get that answer, there's only one thing we should say. Here I am, Lord. I come to do your will.